So here is the first sweater all finished. This is what it looks like. It has a nice pocket, and here's the hood. Here's the ribbing on the hood that makes it so that it pulls around your neck rather than just kind of sagging. It kind of holds things there. This is the kangaroo pouch pattern, and this is all from one sheep. But you can see the difference in coloring. Isn't that pretty? This is why I like natural color. It just turns out so pretty. So, a lot of stress has lifted off of my shoulders at this point. The reason that I've been stressing out about this particular sweater is that I have never knit a man's sweater before. My husband, when we first got married, I made things like gloves and hats for him. I didn't have a spinning wheel yet, so I didn't have the ability to really do a full-size sweater at that point. And it turns out that he doesn't like to wear hats and he doesn't like to wear gloves. And so it just seemed like a waste to make him a sweater. There's close to 300 hours into this sweater, and I wouldn't make this for someone who wasn't going to appreciate it. So for you guys out there that are getting a sweater from me, this is a labor of love on my part that I don't even do for my husband. And thank you so much for supporting my Kickstarter. I hope that you love these sweaters. And the other thing, so the reason it was a big deal was because I needed to see if the sweater pattern translated well into a man's sweater. And it turned, and the other thing is because it's homespun, because I spun the yarn myself, the gauge is not perfect. You have some minor fluctuation in the yarn, small and then large and then small and then large, and so you have to be careful when you make your gauge to decide how many stitches fit in an inch. You have to be very careful because your yarn fluctuates. It means that your gauge will fluctuate. So I took a lot of special care on this sweater, more than I will on the others, because now I know that the pattern will work. This is an extra large. And the man that requested that I add a couple inches onto it. And so I added, I think, 2 inches onto it from what the standard length is. And then I added an extra 3 inches onto the sleeves, which I think was really wise. I've always felt that the sleeves were a little bit too short. And then I added an extra I added an extra 6 inches to the hood because the hood has always just absolutely driven me crazy. They wanted me to start at 9 and stop at 9 inches, which is right here. And there's no way that makes a good size hood. That's not a good size hood. That's ridiculous. So in patterns, it's always a good idea to start with a child's size and acrylic yarn so that you can learn the pattern and then you can work on making it into a work of art. And so the first sweater that I ever made out of this, I made out of cotton, and I made it for myself when I was like 23. And after that, the ones that I've made in wool have been children's sizes, because this ended up being 14 skeins. If you bought this in a store, a hand spun skein of wool, of organic wool, would cost $20. And so if I was making this for myself, it would cost, and I bought the fleece, it would cost me $60 to make it. So every time you make, anyway, spinning allows you to use a luscious, fantastic yarn for the same price as acrylic yarn. And if you let's see, I don't know, the only way that I could afford to wear wool was if I spun it myself. So that's why I do it this way. So just the materials in this yarn, if you bought them, would be at least at least $260, and that's just materials. So this is actually the prettiest sweater that I've ever made. I just can't stop touching it. It's like, oh, it's so soft. Whenever you wear a wool garment on your body as opposed to your head or your hands, you always, always, always wear a base layer. Whether that is a wicking like sports shirt or a cotton shirt, it doesn't matter, but you never wear it next to your skin, ever, 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 ever. Because with such a large garment, it will, if every time you wash it, you have to reshape it, because otherwise, and then let it dry in that shape. You want to wash this as little as possible, so you always, always wear a foundation garment under it to absorb sweat and to absorb body odor. If you don't, then you can't throw this in the washer. You when you wash it, you like wash it in a tub in your bathtub, and then you have to dry it flat. However, you shouldn't have to wash it more than once a year. As long as you, because of the coloring, it will not pick up dirt. If you get it a little bit dirty, it won't show up. It will stay very, very nice for outdoor wear, and it won't pick up dark colors from dirt and stuff. I had to be really careful when I was making it because I was trying to spin the next sweater, and the next sweater is made out of a very long fiber white wool that I will be dyeing, and it kept trying to I kept having random little fibers ending up on this sweater, so finally I had to stop spinning it because this one is so dark that what it will pick up is light colors. So in order to keep it really nice and beautiful, I had to stop spinning and just focus on getting the sweater done so I could get it put away, because this is the only dark sweater that I'm making. Everything else is being dyed, and so this is the only natural one that I'm making. And it took half of a fleece. So 1/2 of the wool that this sheep grew in 1 year is in this sweater. So thank you for supporting my Kickstarter, guys. And for everybody that supported it, and I hope that you feel like you're getting your money's worth out of it. I can't wait to see pictures of you guys in them. And so I'm going to finish 2 sweaters and send them off, and then that way we'll know. I did hold it up to Mr. Dirt this morning just to see if it compares well to a regular size sweater, and it did, especially through the arms. I was really happy with it. And it's so soft. Oh my gosh. So when I was carding it, because this one was hand carded as well, everything that went into preparing the sheep, I did. I put almond oil on it to get the fibers to loosen up, because it was an older fleece. This fleece is a year, maybe 2 years old. And so I had almond oil on my hands and almond oil in a spray bottle and sprayed it down every time I needed to be able to work with it to get those fibers to loosen up. And even though I rinsed it when I set the twist into the yarn, I didn't wash it with soap. And so a lot of that almond oil is still in the sweater, and it just makes me want to put it on. It's so soft. I will be putting a label in it. I will be taking a fleece label and sewing it in right here, and then embroidering the name of the person who this goes to onto the back of the sweater. Just right here on the inside where nobody can see it. I guess the other option would be I could put it inside the pocket, but this seems like the normal place for labels, so that's probably where I'll put it.